Hello everybody. Today we're just going to make a short video to hopefully help you choose between a cooler if you're interested. It's the end of the year and we're going to wash them and put them away. But we've got a variety here and we've had them all for a while. The newest addition is the little small Ingalls one at the end there. And that's just kind of a kayak type of little day cooler. But these other three I think are worthy of a comparison here. The Pelican was the first, I guess, expensive cooler that we bought, one that we would, knew we would have for a while. It's probably 7 years old or so. And the Orca is probably 5 years old, and this Rtic is probably 3 years old. So we just wanted to talk about what we liked about them and kind of what we didn't like about them and show them here together. They're not exactly the same size, and the evolution was we got this one and it was a little bit too small. This one is the 30 quart and it's the elite one, which comes with a couple little cup holders and like a measuring thing for fishing, I guess, on there. And it's definitely a good cooler. But the capacity was a little bit small, and just living out in the country, even just depending on how far away you are from the grocery store, some things need to be frozen. So we use these coolers a lot, much more than most people for the little occasional camping trip or something like that. However, we don't often need to fill them up with ice and pack meat for 4 or 5 days like they advertise. So we don't necessarily use them like that either. Every now and then we'll go on a weekend trip where we'll fill it up with 10 pounds of ice and use it as a refrigerator for days, but that's a lot more rare than when we just use them for a day-long river trip or outing or grocery store trips or at the beach, that kind of thing. So I guess the Pelican, my thoughts on the Pelican. Oh, I guess first of all, I know it's not very scientific here, but I did do a test a year ago. I wanted to make a little video and just never got around to it, but I did freeze a 20-ounce water bottle and put one in each one outside in the sun right next to each other and closed them all up and timed it. And I don't remember the exact times, but I do remember the Pelican outlasted the other two by at least a few hours, and it was just a 20-ounce water bottle, so not necessarily with the volume and everything. Like I said, not too scientific, but I do have confidence that the Pelican would hold ice longer for multiple days like they advertise. The walls are much thicker. It's generally, for its size, just a heavier cooler in general. So I do appreciate what it is, but the volume capacity for the overall size, I'm not sure if you can tell, but the lip and the walls are super thick on this, so it's not as efficient to tuck into a trunk of a car or something. However, I do like these latches a lot. They're just simple, easy to use. Even a young person can easily do these latches, and the Pelican name speaks for itself. These two are made in the USA, which was important for my decision making, so hence the first two purchases. But you can also tell, one thing to note about this Pelican, and it makes no difference to me, but just look at the wear and the fade on this is considerable compared to the other two. The other two, you could wipe them down, they look brand new. But this one looks very old. It's, I don't know why. I guess it's just the way that it is, being used a lot. But so that one shows a lot of wear on the exterior, even though the inside is still nice and new, could be cleaned up great. So I don't know if that really matters to you, but it used to be a nice dark green color like this. So it's changed a lot in its time. So the latches are a good one. This one though, it has the handles on the side. So that if this thing is filled up with 10 pounds of ice and drinks and all that, it gets really heavy. It's probably 20 pounds or something close to that by itself. So the handle design on that has its pros and cons. If I had to choose one for a single person to carry, I do like the Orca handle better. It's just simple, you can grab it. If 2 people need to grab it, 2 people can, but if it's just one person, it's much easier to grab that than it is. This obviously takes up both hands, and it's just a little more restricting, even though the built-in cup holders probably should be on every cooler. That's just great. So I like the Orca too, and it held the ice water bottle almost as long, and it was a little bit cheaper, made in the USA. I do like these latches too, although they do take a little bit of a technique for them to be easy. Unlike that one, it's simple, easy, doesn't require any strength. This one, depending on how you approach it, can be difficult for young people, or just certain people. But it latches tight and it seems simple. No degradation on the rubber, which I guess would be the weakness. So I like this design a whole lot. One thing about this cooler, they all also have the some sort of drain hole on the bottom, so that's something they share in common. I think the big one actually has two, one on each side. But this cooler, it seems that the gasket seals so well that after you put some ice in there and some drinks and stuff and you lock it down and you let it sit for 30 minutes, I guess the air creates a suction as it cools down, and you can't even open the lid with the rubber. It's got so much suction on there where you actually have to loosen the drain hole, just a little burp of air in there to open up the top, which can be super annoying, especially if it's in the back of a vehicle and you just want to grab a drink. You can't let water spittle out the side just to open it. So that's like a huge, it's a pro because of the good seal, but it's a con depending on how you want to use it. If you're in a boat or a pickup truck bed, it's no big deal. And so I do love this cooler, but that's something that I didn't expect, and it's the only one out of these that does that. The little Ingles, it's a great design. I think this was $30 or $40. I don't know that much about it. It's not as big of a purchase, but I do like the hard coolers, and this is a perfect little personal size for a few beers and sandwiches and stuff for a day on the river. It'll keep it does its job. And the simple little latches, I can't see much going wrong. And we've used that one pretty hard and tumbled it around, and it still looks brand new. And this big one, we got this mainly for just the extra capacity and to have two. If we want to have food in one on a trip and we have drinks in another, then it's much easier to kind of make the environment according to what you have in there if you have two separate. And this one is their lighter weight version. I can't remember what they called it, but it was a little bit cheaper than the normal ones, and I imagine it just doesn't quite have the same insulation, but for 2 days or so, 3 days, it's perfectly fine. I also liked it because it came with the rack, and it also came with a divider ice pack, one of these, but it's skinnier. It's in our freezer actually right now, but it fits in these grooves so it can separate two sides, and it also just fits nicely in there securely. So this one came with a couple little additions that the other two you would have to buy separately. So I do like that a lot. And this one has simple rope handles, which is great. One person can carry it, but it's easier for two people, and it's simple. So I don't really have a favorite. I feel like you may have to get multiple coolers depending on what your needs may be. But I've been happy with all of these, and with the exception of the wear and tear look of the Pelican, I think if you wanted to probably get the one that had the longest capability for storing ice for multiple days, it's hard to beat the Pelican for Made in USA. But all three are a very good choice, I think, and for the general size of one person, no matter what it would be, I prefer that Orca size there. I think in the 20, or yeah, I think that's a 20 quart. But that's a great size, one person. You can take it in a boat, camping, beach, anything, small grocery trip. So I like that one, minus the little problem with the suction there. So anyway, I hope this can help you decide on what cooler, and I'm happy with all of them. They're different sizes for a reason, but if you had to choose one, I think probably either one of these would do you just great. This one may be overkill for a lot of personal short trips, so it's just the size of it. But anyway, thanks for watching, and hope you have a good day.